All right, today let's talk about some robotics. So I've got my TSC5 connected via radio to my S5 and I want to get going to work. So there's a few options that we can do. We can go through the menu and we can go down to measure and we can go to VXS series and do station setup that way. What I like to do is I like to keep it simple surveyor. So I'm in the map screen, I go to measure, I go to VXS series, I go to station setup. Okay. So our corrections. The only thing we got to worry about in here is our temperature. Temperature is provided by the user. So I'm set up here in the office shooting some prisms. So we'll say it's about 70 degrees in here. And I'm going to say enter. PPM is going to be computed and the pressure is going to come from the instrument itself. All right, so I'm going to say accept. And we're going to come in here to station setup, right? So we need to tell it where we are, and when most people are using a conventional survey, we're on assumed coordinate scale factor only, right? So we could put in our point number. I'm going to start with 100, and I'm going to put in CP for control point. All right, so I'm going to need to put an instrument height in, 5.35, because I already measured it up. And if you notice, I've already got instrument coordinates defaulted in here. And you're saying, Mike, how do I do that? You go to options, you go up to the top, and if you notice here, we've got default instrument coordinates. So we can put in 10,000, and then we could put in 10,000. We'll put an elevation of 100. Okay, and then it's going to default to azimuth. Most surveyors like 0, so I'm going to set that to 0. And then I'm going to say accept. All right, so now we're good to go. We've established our point in space, but now we're going to do our backside. So I'm going to say accept, and now it's going to ask for our backside. So typically when we run a traverse, we're setting up over a point and backsiding a point, and we're going to need to give that point a name as well. So I'm going to call that 200 because I'm going to do 200 stations here in the office. And I'm going to call that a control point as well. I'm going to say the backside height. It's a monitoring prism over against the wall. I'm going to give it a 0 height for now. We're going to have to give it an azimuth. Another thing that came up is surveyors like bearings. So how do we get bearings on our station setup? What we can do is we can go to our job, our properties, all right, go into our units, and under units, there's a quadrant bearings checkbox. So if we hit that and we say accept again, and open, now it's going to look for a bearing, right? So I do have a compass here. My bearing is 007, enter. And then I'm going to use our angles and distance to establish it. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make sure that I've got a 0 mm target with a 0 m height. I'm going to accept that. If we go over here to our instrument functions, I'm going to put auto lock on.
Target locked.
Target's locked. I'm going to say measure. And that's about 26 feet away. And now I've set 0. I'm going to say store.
Station setup completed.
And we're good to go. That's how you do a station setup.